I mean, that's significant force.
Well,
So
yes.
I would think that that there would be, definitely an effect there.
Well,
Um,
and you don't know how far deep the the effect is
mhm,
on the oceans. I know that I don't think the entire ocean churns, but
right.
I do know that where you have the vents coming out,
Hmm.
that that would just about have, if it affects through there, then I think that you could assume that it does affect the magma
Oh,
because,
absolutely.
I don't know. It's just fascinating to me that all of this stuff is hand in glove.
Hmm.
So I do believe that the answer to her question would almost have to be yes.
Hmm. I would be, and it's like I say, I'm going to, I'm not ashamed to say I don't know. A lot of people are scared of those words.
You're
I'm,
not.
I'm not
You're right.
ashamed to say it, but personal opinion, and I might be completely wrong, but in my opinion, I would definitely agree with Kat on that. That it would almost have to be the case. Um, just the sheer scale of everything, it would be hard to believe otherwise. Um, but we're talking about how we were measuring for or looking for those effects in humans. Well, they have done studies over the years, and every time they would come up in, it would be inconclusive. They never were able to show it positive that people were able to sense Earth's magnetic field. Because if they couldn't detect it consciously, then we just didn't know. And now that the medical technology has came so far along that EEGs can now measure to such a minute scale that they're able to detect the changes. And that's actually how they did the study that that showed that humans were responding to it. Um, they basically what they did was they had the participants sit in a dark room. Um, they're wearing the EEG cap. They had electromagnetic coils in the walls of this room, and they were set to mimic. Basically, they were in a Faraday cage with a big electromagnetic field generator inside. And what they did was they altered the direction that it would be to kind of simulate people moving in different directions. And it's kind of interesting because most of the time, when when we're moving, in the northern hemisphere, the um, the magnetic field moves in a up down pattern, you know, particularly downward. And so that was what they did a lot of their testing with. And when they did that, they saw a more significant response simulating north and south and moving east than they did when moving west. And it's kind of funny because you were talking about how you were saying that traveling west doesn't seem to affect you as much.
At all.
And it was funny because what you were talking about kind of goes hand in hand with the results of their study. Which when you said that, I was like, wow, that is so cool. Because I'm telling you, when they published this journal and I saw it, I
But I didn't
I
see
didn't know.
that in that study.
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe I missed that.
It could
Oh,
well, Nick.
I printed one of those because there were duplicates and they all started the same.
Well,
that
and
that's bizarre.
yeah, yeah, I'll have to send that because that I've actually got it from the EDU link from Caltech,
Yeah.
and that that may be it.
I was reading
The
the
one that was
quotes
on the
from
side,
Discover magazine.
right? So they might have left out some of the details in there. Um,
That's
but yeah,
bizarre.
it really is. But I mean, you know, that's a heck of a correlation right there.
Well, okay. I'm taken aback. That doesn't happen much.
No, and you know that here's something to think about too is not only did you know did they try that and they found that, but the next phase of their testing is they want to test it in the southern hemisphere and see what kind of results they get because of course in the southern hemisphere in reversing the magnetic polarity you should have the reverse effects instead of reacting primarily to a downward field. People should react primarily to an upward field. So it's going to be interesting to see. But I mean, there's a lot of buzz about it in the medical community, especially the neuroscience
Well,
area.
there is. This information was sourced in, I know, 6 sites,
Hmm.
and you sent me a couple of them. I actually just chose one because when I clicked them open, they all started the same. And I
Hmm.
thought, well, I like Discover. I'll read there. Yeah. You know how you just do things. And
Oh yeah, yeah.
so yeah, I completely missed that. I'm glad you brought
It
that up.
that you know honestly, I had forgot about it um, until you mentioned it. And you know when you said that about traveling west, that you know that is so. I was like, wow,
Well,
because
it's not just, but when you go east and I feel like I'm losing time.
mhm,
And when I moved to Atlanta, it made absolutely no sense that the news came on at 11. Who
mhm,
stays up that late? I want to know what's happening, right? That was before CNN.
mhm,
But I just have always had a hard time going east, regardless of the situation. I don't adjust well to that.
mhm. Well, you know, and a funny little tidbit I'm going to throw out there for everyone listening that Kat and I were talking about during the break earlier is when you fly north, south, or east, you're actually moving at whatever speed the plane is traveling. But because of physics, the Earth's rotation, and the speed of the Earth's rotation, at the speed of most flights, you're primarily just when you take off flying west, you primarily are just hovering and the earth spins beneath you and then you land. It's kind of interesting how that.
It's a cool concept.
Mhm. So
And
it
if
took
you've ever
someone
watched a
once.
sunset into the water, you know that's an absolute truth.
Mhm.
We
Yeah,
move quick and we don't even feel it.
no, no, that well, you know when you think about the size of the Earth, I mean, for it to spin just within 24 hours to make a complete rotation, it's pretty quick.
Well, it is pretty quick. And I always like the illusions of, the full the full moon is still up when I'm watching a sunset. I mean, a
Mm,
sunrise sometimes.
right.
And I'm like, how is that possible? Well, now I know because I got curious one day and went and looked things up. But,
Hmm.
when you're a kid and it's like, why is the moon still there? You know, and I'm watching
Hmm.
the sun in front of me. I just love this stuff.
Oh yeah, and I promise to everyone listening, I promise it won't be just a science lesson. I promise I'm going to explain how this ties into the paranormal. So
Well,
so just bear with me.
but I think it's so cool that you were so convinced that this was fact.
Hmm.
And I was just kind of like, I don't know, not everything feels the geomagnetic force. Not
Hmm.
everybody uses it for navigation. You have echolocation and other forms of things. I just didn't know that I believed that right
Hmm.
off the bat. And the more I thought about it, the more I thought, well, he's very rarely wrong.
Right.
So,
That well, and it's easy to it's easy to follow a train of thought and come up with a theory. And trust me, I know I've been wrong plenty of times. Um, the way I tell people is, I've been wrong. When I get something right, it's because I've done whatever I was trying to do pretty much every wrong way that it could be done first. Um, but
that's how we learn.
yeah, that well, it's kind of like Edison said about the light bulb. Someone asked him once about you know him about all of his failures, and he made the remark that he learned 9,999 ways to not make a light bulb. So,
Absolutely. And the tenacity. You
mhm,
have to have tenacity. I
yes.
cannot stress how important that is because people, when they're on the cusp of something great, I've seen so many people give up
Hmm.
and lose faith in themselves. You don't tend to do that. You are very tenacious and you just
I,
follow through on everything. And if you can't figure it out, you go and find somebody who can. I do
mhm.
that too. So, you know, usually my
you
source
know,
is you, and I'm asking, where did you get that? And then we kind of guide.
it's I'm just kind of fortunate to have a couple of professors on standby. So,
True that.
that definitely comes in handy.
Well,
But
it does.
and
Those PhDs behind their names don't hurt a bit.
mm,
Yeah.
not at all. That you know, but I'm very much curiosity driven, and what keeps me up at night is when I can't figure something out. It's like I've said many times. I was that kid who took everything apart that I could get my hands on just so I could see how it worked. And here it is. I'm 40 years old and I still haven't outgrown that. It's just now I'm taking apart much bigger things. I
well,
do it
I
metaphorically more than literally now.
well, I'll tell you, I have some physicists that I would like to sit you down in a room with and watch the show
Oh, yeah.
because, you know, I somebody I think you would really enjoy is Travis Taylor, who works for NASA. He's actually up at Redstone, and you can see him on Ancient Aliens. He may be the smartest person I've ever listened to or spoken with. That
Hmm.
present company excluded. So I just think that's cool. And you know what? It is that time, my friend. We have a 2-minute break.
Oh, wow. It snuck up on us
It
again.
did. So, everyone listening, we will be back And I hope you enjoy this.